Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown. Just finished up Talladega, so wild weekend to go over with that, and go over a little bit of local short track dirt racing in Pennsylvania that I personally was able to see. But as always, this episode is brought to you by W Energy. Go to w.gg, use promo code ZBHP to get 10% off your order. Got awesome flavors there. They just dropped a new one. Believe it's orange creamsicle or something like that. So go check it out. And you got a bunch of other good stuff there. I got hydration stuff in that website as well. So w.gg and use the promo code ZBHP. Let's get to the show. Before I get into NASCAR at Talladega, I really want to give a quick shout out from the ARCA race to one of the guests on the show, Caleb Costner, that came on. He had an awesome appearance there. He had a little late race tire issues. Tire right front blew and hit the outside wall on 3 and 4. He's fine and everything, and he seems to be in good spirits. But Caleb, if you're watching this, awesome job, buddy. Made a lot of us in North Carolina proud, and good to see the small team show a lot of success. I think he was running up to 7th, and he was fast, and he was patient the entire race, and just things happen to Talladega. It can't really control. But he avoided a bunch of wrecks and just had some issues with the tire. So good job, Caleb, and that entire lickety-loos 93 Chevrolet down there at Talladega. Let's go a little bit over the Xfinity race, which I caught some of. I was in the middle of spectating a volleyball tournament for Division III men's volleyball. Shout out to my cousin's team, Messiah University, making the Final Four in that. Not to brag or anything, but I called it. I said they'd make it, so you're welcome there. But I was able to tune in and out of the Xfinity race, and from what I was seeing, what I was hearing, it was lots of crashes and lots of cautions. It's difficult to watch it and everything. I do know I did see the one driver, Blaine Perkins, have a very scary wreck. I think he flipped 7 times on the backstretch. He had to get transported to the local hospital there in Talladega. And I did see an update that he was alert, he was in good spirits, but they were observing him just to make sure there was nothing more serious going on. So hopefully he has a speedy recovery, and just everything goes well. Thoughts and prayers to the family there. It's those wrecks. There were a bunch of big wrecks in Xfinity, especially at Talladega this weekend. So hope all those drivers are okay. They seem to be. And I know they'll definitely be sore this whole week, so they'll need to do a little bit of rehab for all of that. But the race ended with Jeb Burton getting the win. So congrats to Jeb and the Burton family. I know there was a lot of exchange between him and Chandler Smith. I guess it was kind of a Twitter fight or media battle and everything with those drivers, but and they had words for each other, but a lot of tempers flare after Talladega anyway. So, but congrats to Jeb on the big time win at Talladega. Anytime you can win at Talladega and be able to avoid those wrecks like that, that's very significant. Going to the Cup race, looked like it was a good crowd there, for what I can see on TV. I saw some empty seats, but still Talladega, and people are going to show out for Talladega. And the race started off kind of how I expected. It was a little boring in the beginning. There wasn't a whole lot of passing going on in the beginning. But Chase Elliott was able to come out with a win on stage 1. And the biggest highlight of the first stage were a few of the drivers getting onto pit road. I believe it was Chase Briscoe was one of the drivers, and Tyler Reddick was another. Had issues getting on the pit road, slowing down. They locked up the tires and spun out. Reddick actually hit the inside safer barrier coming onto pit road, and Chase Briscoe was actually the right front locked up. He wasn't able to move and actually brought a caution then. But again, Chase Elliott wins the first stage. Second stage, everything started getting a little bit more racy. I think tires were wearing out a little bit, and it made it for better racing. It's amazing what that does. And the stage breaks are cool because it gets you a little bit exciting finishes towards the end, and this one was especially that. Almirola made a last-second move, gets a push from his teammate Kevin Harvick, and photo finished to win the second stage. And that's when things started really amping up. And everybody started getting antsier. It's Talladega. It was bound to happen. Everybody's pushing so hard. And with these new next-gen cars, you can only push so hard without them getting too squirrely and causing wrecks like that. There was of course, it's a green-white checkered, and overtime at Talladega made for a lot of excitement. Larson gets a big push on Chastain, and I believe it was Gragson moves up the racetrack, and Chastain tries to make the move inside. Gragson kind of comes down. Chastain's up. They both make contact. Regardless, it's a Talladega incident. It's hard to really point the finger at anything. And Larson goes around behind them, and I think it was about 6 cars involved in it total. But Larson, I thought he was going to save it, but then he made a sharp right up into towards the fence, and Ryan Preece was going at least 160, 170 right there. He had nowhere to go, and hit Larson around the right side of Larson's car. Huge hit, and glad it was on Larson's right side, not the driver's side, because that would have been a really, really bad hit. They showed an in-car camera of Preece and showed the actual driver reaction of everything, and he had the "oh shit" face going into it, and then when they hit, he's like, you could see it. That one hurt. He's going to be sore in the morning. Glad he's okay, but it was definitely a very, very heavy impact. Glad everybody walked away from all that. Well, we get another green-white checkered, and the biggest talk was a lot of these guys can't make it on fuel. Some of them actually went into the pits, and then Kyle Busch stayed out. And they said, hey, you're going to probably run out of fuel. He said, well, screw it. We got a win under our belt. Let's go for it. We're already got up front here. We got to take that chance. And it's a good thing he did. Coming to the white flag, Bubba Wallace has the lead, has his buddy Ryan Blaney right behind him. And Bubba was fast all day. The Toyotas really were quick and were definitely impressive. Bubba tries to block Ryan 3 times, and you're never going to block anybody 3 times in a single corner at Talladega. And the final one he tried to block, they make contact, and Bubba starts to spin and goes right down the track. Misses Kyle Busch, nicks the right rear of or right front, I believe, of Keselowski's car. So Kyle Busch barely skated by. Caution flies because the big one happened. The big one happened right there at the final lap of the race. Caution comes out, and Kyle Busch is in the right place at the right time. He obviously, at the beginning of the season, the Daytona 500, he was on the losing end of a green-white checkered and all of the cautions at the very end and all that. So a little bit of redemption for Kyle after, I believe it was 15 years since he's been a victory lane on a super speedway. So Good on him. I did have the right organization picked in my picks this week, and we'll get into that on Wednesday's episode with my dad, who's probably going to rub it in my face that his picks did significantly better than mine. Whatever. It is what it is. But good on Kyle. The biggest thing you see is that this is the second win of the season for Kyle, and once again, the crowd roars and cheers. You didn't hear that. Kyle Busch has never done that. Never had that out of a crowd. Well, the times have changed, apparently. And I'll say it again. I mean, RCR is a very popular organization. Everybody wants to see that win. A lot of people are really excited for the 8 car to be in Victory Lane as well. It's pretty crazy. And for me, I've never been a Kyle Busch fan ever. But I'm like, I'm not hating the win. It's just weird how you can change your opinion on a driver when they switch over to a new car and everything. You know what he's been through the last year, and I think a lot of people recognize a lot of the kind of the headaches he was going through and trying to figure out where he was going to end up being. And it's a little bit of redemption for him. But congrats to Kyle and Childress for another Talladega win. Well, Outlaws we were going to go over, but Mother Nature in Knoxville said, hey, let's have a snowstorm. So they actually canceled really early because they forecasted just insane wind chill temperatures. And they showed a picture of the track covered in snow, which was crazy. Over where I'm at right now, it's been in the 80s and 90s, and it's been great. So to see that, I'm like, wow, that's pretty crazy. But I was able to see some local track dirt racing at Williams Grove Speedway this past Friday. Finally was able to get back up there and see the entire family, see my grandpa still almost 89 years old, wrenching on the car. It was a time trial event, and the track was decent. It needed some more racing on it. If there were another series besides the street stocks, if there's a third series there, I think the racing would have got better quicker. It didn't slick. The track didn't slicken up until about halfway through the feature event for the sprints. Just wasn't a whole lot of passing until you got to about halfway, and then you got into lap traffic, and then you got better racing and everything out of the drivers. It was a heck of a battle between Macri and Marks. Macri ended up spinning out, and Marks took advantage of that, and that was right again on another pick. Again, I didn't pick anything on the podcast for that, but he did, and he was right about Brent Marks winning at Williams Grove. I mean, he wasn't going out on a whole limb there, but the driver for my grandpa, Lance DeWeese, he ended up third, and I was kind of hoping there was a late race restart because I think Marks and Danny Dietrich would have been battling pretty hard and opened the door for Lance at the end if they did that. But either way, it was a lot of fun up there, and it's a great environment. If you've never been, check out Williams Grove. If you've never been in the area, you're going to be very confused, like, where are you? Because it's in the middle of nowhere. But that's what it's all about. And it's a lot of fun. We sat in the backstretch. We sat on Beer Hill first, but we started getting just pounded with mud clumps and everything. So we're like, yeah, we got to move because we might get a concussion from all this. The backstretch seats were great, able to see, and it wasn't too dusty there or anything like that. So good racing and good environment. It's I've missed it. It's good to see every now and then. Again, if you've never been, check it out. It's definitely a lot of fun when All Stars and the World of Outlaws come to that track. It's the local PA posse people. They make it known that this is their home track. So yeah, really cool to see all that, and it was a good time up there. And I will say I definitely was not on the sober end by the end of the whole races. So, but I don't think a lot of people were that were at the track. But it was fun. It was a good time. Looking forward to going up there, possibly later this year. Possibly going to the Tuscarora 50 at the in September at Port Royal. So that'll be cool. Port Royal rained out, by the way. I was trying to go to that too, but Mother Nature said, no, I don't want to do that. But it's okay. It's fine. But honestly, that really wraps it up. There was some late model action at Talladega Short Track. I didn't really watch any of that from Saturday night. I know Larson was racing. I think Stenhouse might have been racing in it as well. I know Larson ended up like 6th or 8th or something like that. But I don't know. I didn't see the entire results and rundown on that. But tune in again on the middle of the week again. We're going to have another episode of Crew Chief Corner with my dad. And we'll preview all the action coming up. There's a lot of racing coming up this weekend. I'll be at the NHRA event down at Charlotte on Friday night. They'll be there for qualifying night. I think they do round 1 as well. So be a lot of fun, a lot of stuff going on, and getting closer and closer to the big races coming in May, especially the Indianapolis 500. So if you like this, go check out the other videos, like and subscribe, and keep staying tuned. We got a bunch of guests coming on, and actually I will announce this week's guest, the general manager from South Boston Speedway, Chase Brashear, is coming on the show. Just an awesome track up there. A very historical NASCAR track. If you haven't heard about it, go check it out. The SRX series for Tony Stewart raced there last season. It's a lot of fun racing. They race a lot of late models. The Cars Tour goes through there. It's owned by Pocono Raceway now, but it's definitely an interview you do not want to miss. And you get a lot of inside scoop of what it's like at a such a historical racetrack like that through the actual general manager of the raceway. So, again, like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on all social media platforms, and check us out anywhere you get your podcast. See you guys in a couple days. Have a good one.